Welcome back to the deep dive. This time, we're heading to the Caribbean, specifically the island of Grenada, to explore their soursop industry. You might be thinking, soursop, what's so special about that?
Well, get this. Grenada is the only place on the planet allowed to export fresh soursop to the United States.
Talk about a market advantage.
Right.
We've got reports from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, soursop production manuals, even contract documents for a climate-smart irrigation project. And when I say climate-smart, I'm talking high-tech drip irrigation and some serious water storage solutions.
What's really fascinating is that this exclusivity, combined with soursop's rising popularity, points to a potential gold mine for Grenadian farmers. You see, globally, there's a huge shift towards health-conscious eating, and soursop fits perfectly into that trend. It's natural, nutritious, and incredibly versatile. Think juices, ice creams, even teas made from the leaves.
So we're talking about a fruit with serious economic potential. Some are even calling it Grenada's green gold. But becoming a successful soursop farmer isn't a walk in the park. There's a lot to learn. And that's where these production manuals come in. They're incredibly detailed, covering everything from choosing the right soursop variety to nurturing those seedlings in a nursery. They even dive deep into soil analysis, drainage, sun exposure, basically creating the perfect real estate for your soursop empire.
The manuals really emphasize the importance of techniques like grafting and budding. It's fascinating how they use these methods to essentially create stronger, higher-yielding plants
Yeah,
by combining the best traits of different varieties.
that's right. It's like creating a soursop dream team. But here's something that really caught my eye. Soursop pollination. It turns out these flowers have a quirk called protogenic dichogamy. Now, I know that sounds like a mouthful, but what it means is that the male and female parts of the flower mature at different times, so they can't self-pollinate.
It's nature's way of forcing cross-pollination, which leads to greater genetic diversity. But for farmers, it means they have to get involved in a very hands-on way.
Exactly. They have to hand pollinate each flower. Can you imagine the patience that requires?
Absolutely. And think about the scale. Each flower's pollen can be used to pollinate up to 6 other flowers. That's incredible efficiency.
It's amazing how these small details play such a crucial role in soursop production. But even with all this care, soursop farmers face constant challenges. We're talking pests, like scale insects, mealybugs, even termites. And then there are diseases like anthracnose and root rot, which can be devastating to an orchard.
That's where the production manual and the FAO report become invaluable resources. They offer practical advice on combating these challenges,
Yeah.
advocating for a balanced approach that combines cultural practices with careful, targeted use of chemical treatments when absolutely necessary.
So it's a constant battle against the elements, but one that Grenadian farmers are clearly up for. But let's be honest, we all know that farming isn't just about passion, it's also about economics, and that's where things get really interesting.
The FAO report is very clear on this point. Despite the challenges, soursop represents a substantial income opportunity for Grenadian farmers. And here's a statistic that really highlights that potential. Less than 1% of the global demand for soursop is currently being met. Imagine that there's a huge untapped market out there, just waiting to be filled.
That's a pretty compelling argument. For anyone thinking about investing in Grenada's soursop industry, it's like stepping into a market with a huge head start. And remember, we've only scratched the surface of what soursop can offer. Beyond fresh fruit, there's a whole world of processed products waiting to be explored.
Pink juices, ice creams, those medicinal teas we mentioned earlier. There's even potential for soursop-based cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. The possibilities seem endless.
So we're talking about a fruit with not only a fascinating history and cultivation process, but also with a potential that extends far beyond the traditional. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the intricacies of Grenada's soursop industry and uncover what makes this green gold so special.
We've talked about the potential of soursop, but realizing that potential means facing some real challenges, like unpredictable weather patterns. That's where this climate-smart irrigation project comes in. It's a truly international effort with the European Union and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, providing funding through a French organization, AFDI. They're partnering with a local group, simply Pure Agro Processing, or SPA, and the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDIADE, to bring it all together.
Wow, that's quite a team. So what exactly are they doing to help Grenadian soursop farmers?
Their focus is on giving farmers more control over their water supply. They're installing those advanced drip irrigation systems we mentioned earlier. It's all about precision, delivering water directly to the roots of the trees, where it's needed most. And they're not stopping there. They're also installing water storage facilities, which act like a safety net during those inevitable dry spells.
It sounds like they're really setting these farmers up for success, giving them the tools and knowledge to navigate a changing climate.
Absolutely. The project goes beyond just installing equipment. They're also providing training on efficient water management practices, making sure the farmers can make the most of these new systems.
Speaking of maximizing yields, these production manuals go into incredible detail about every aspect of soursop cultivation. It's like they've thought of everything: nursery management, field establishment, pest control, even post-harvest handling.
It's like a soursop farmer's Bible, guiding them through each stage of the process. One thing that really stood out to me was the emphasis on grafting and budding techniques. These methods are crucial for creating those high-performing, disease-resistant trees that we discussed earlier.
Right, they're like botanical surgeons, selecting the best genetic material to create a soursop superstar.
Exactly. And these techniques are key to ensuring the long-term health and productivity of the soursop orchards. It's fascinating how these traditional practices are being combined with modern technology like drip irrigation to create a more resilient and sustainable farming system.
And all of this, of course, ties back to the economic potential of soursop. The FAO report really drives home the point that despite the challenges, soursop presents a substantial income opportunity for Grenadian farmers, especially when you consider that less than 1% of potential demand is currently being met. That's mind-boggling.
It really is. It suggests that there's a huge first-mover advantage. For those who are already invested in Grenada's soursop industry, they have a real opportunity to establish themselves and capture market share before others catch on.
We've been talking a lot about the big picture, but these documents also offer a fascinating glimpse into the day-to-day life of a soursop farmer. They cover everything, from pruning and pest management to that incredibly intricate process of hand pollination.
It's clearly labor-intensive work, requiring a deep understanding of the plant's needs and a willingness to adapt to the ever-changing conditions of the natural world. But the potential rewards are significant, both financially and in terms of contributing to Grenada's agricultural landscape.
Speaking of challenges, let's dive a bit deeper into the threats that soursop farmers face, starting with pests. The production manual highlights some of the major culprits: scale insects, mealybugs, and termites. These pests can wreak havoc on an orchard if they're not controlled.
And then there are the diseases, like anthracnose and root rot. These can be absolutely devastating if they're not addressed promptly and effectively.
It sounds like a constant battle against the elements, requiring farmers to be incredibly vigilant and proactive.
Absolutely. But what's encouraging is that the manuals and reports emphasize a balanced approach to pest and disease management. They promote a combination of cultural practices, things like pruning to improve air circulation, and removing infected plant material, along with the judicious use of chemical treatments when absolutely necessary.
So it's not just about spraying chemicals indiscriminately.
Not at all. They advocate for what's called integrated pest management, or IPM. It's about understanding the entire ecosystem of the orchard and using a variety of techniques to manage pests and diseases in a way that minimizes negative impacts on the environment and human health.
It sounds like a much more sustainable and holistic approach, which aligns well with the overall goal of developing a thriving and resilient soursop industry in Grenada.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between protecting the crops and preserving the natural balance of the environment.
Now let's shift our focus to a specific project that really caught my eye: the Climate Smart Irrigation Project. Detailed in these contract and report documents, we touched on it earlier, but I'd love to delve into the specifics.
Absolutely. This project is a great example of how international collaboration can make a real difference on the ground. You've got organizations from Europe, the Caribbean, and North America all working together to support Grenadian soursop farmers.
And it's not just about funding. They're also providing technical expertise, training, and capacity building.
That's right. They're empowering the farmers with the knowledge and skills they need to manage these new irrigation systems effectively.
It's fascinating to see how this project blends modern technology with traditional farming practices. They're taking the best of both worlds to create a system that's more efficient, more resilient, and ultimately more sustainable.
And it's not just about improving yields. It's also about conserving water, which is becoming an increasingly precious resource in many parts of the world, including the Caribbean.
Speaking of water conservation, one of the documents we have is a request for quotation from Simply Pure Agro Processing, or SPA, outlining the materials they need For a 50-tree drip irrigation system, it's incredibly detailed, including everything from filters and tubing to pressure regulators and even a solar-powered pumping unit.
It's amazing to see the level of thought and planning that's gone into this project. They're not just opting for a generic irrigation system. They're specifying precise components to create a system that's perfectly tailored to the specific needs of soursop trees.
It's like a custom-designed irrigation solution, and they're planning for 30 of these systems. It's clear that they're making a significant investment in improving water management practices.
Absolutely. And they're also investing in the infrastructure to support these systems. The document includes a bill of materials for constructing the tank placement facility, which indicates a commitment to creating a robust and reliable irrigation network.
It's clear that they're taking a long-term view, recognizing that investing in efficient irrigation is crucial for ensuring the future success of the soursop industry. And this project really exemplifies a key theme we've been exploring: the intersection of traditional farming practices with modern technology and innovation.
They're blending the wisdom of generations of Grenadian farmers with cutting-edge irrigation technology to create a system that's both efficient and environmentally responsible. It's a powerful combination.
Okay. We've talked about the technology and the economics, but let's not forget about the human element of the story. We have these contract documents that outline the partnership between SPA, CAR-RD, and AFDI. It's fascinating to see the level of collaboration and commitment from all parties involved.
It really is a testament to the power of partnership. You have organizations from different countries and continents coming together with a shared goal of supporting Grenadian soursop farmers. And they're not just throwing money at the problem, they're actively involved in providing technical assistance, training, and capacity building.
And that commitment is reflected in the contract's emphasis on institutional strengthening. They're not just focused on the immediate project. They're also working to build the long-term capacity of SPA and other farmer organizations so they can play a more active role in shaping the future of the soursop industry.
It's a holistic approach, recognizing that sustainable development requires a combination of infrastructure, technology, and most importantly, people.
And this brings us back to that concept of soursop as green gold. The potential is clearly there, but realizing it requires a multifaceted approach involving collaboration, innovation, and a deep understanding of both the plant and the people who cultivate it. These documents provide us with a fascinating window into the efforts underway to unlock that potential. It's a story of resilience, ingenuity, and the pursuit of a brighter future for Grenada's soursop industry.
Now let's shift our focus back to the production side of things. The production manual goes into great detail about the importance of proper pruning techniques. Why is pruning so important for soursop trees?
Pruning is all about maintaining a balance between vegetative growth and fruit production. If a tree grows unchecked, it'll put all its energy into producing leaves and branches, leaving less energy for those delicious soursop fruits.
It's like giving the tree a haircut to encourage it to focus on the good stuff.
Exactly. And the manual outlines a specific pruning regime designed to optimize the tree shape, promote air circulation, and ultimately maximize fruit yield.
They even have detailed diagrams showing the proper angles for making cuts and the ideal height to maintain the canopy. It's a surprisingly precise process. It is. And they emphasize the importance of pruning throughout the tree's life cycle. From the early stages of growth to maturity, it's a continuous process of shaping and guiding the tree to ensure its long-term health and productivity.
Now let's talk about those pests and diseases that can threaten soursop orchards. The documents we have here paint a vivid picture of the constant battle farmers face.
They cover a wide range of pests, from sap-sucking insects like scale insects and mealybugs to those pesky termites that can weaken branches and even kill entire trees.
And we can't forget about the diseases.
Right.
Anthracnose, a fungal disease, can cause significant damage to leaves and fruits, reducing yields and affecting the quality of the harvest.
And then there's root rot, caused by a soil-borne pathogen that thrives in waterlogged conditions. This one can be particularly challenging to manage.
That sounds like soursop farmers need to be incredibly vigilant.
They do. But these challenges also highlight the resilience and ingenuity of the farmers. They're constantly adapting and innovating to protect their crops.
The documents outline a range of strategies for managing these threats. It's a combination of cultural practices like pruning to improve air circulation and removing infected plant material, and the judicious use of chemical treatments when necessary.
What's interesting is the emphasis on integrated pest management. or IPM, which encourages the more balanced approach.
So it's not just about spraying chemicals.
Exactly. IPM involves understanding the entire ecosystem of the orchard and using a combination of techniques to manage pests and diseases in a way that minimizes negative impacts on the environment and human health. It's about working with nature, not against it.
It's a more sustainable and holistic approach, which aligns well with the overall goal of developing a thriving and resilient soursop industry in Grenada.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And these documents provide us with a valuable glimpse into the challenges and opportunities facing Grenadian soursop farmers. It's a story of dedication, innovation, and the pursuit of green gold.
Now, let's delve deeper into the post-harvest handling of soursop.
The production manual outlines a series of steps to ensure the quality and freshness of the fruit after it's been harvested. It all starts with careful handling during the harvest itself to avoid bruising.
They even recommend using crates or baskets instead of bags to transport the fruit to minimize the risk of crushing.
Right. And once the fruit arrives at the packing house, it undergoes a rigorous sorting and grading process.
They're looking for any blemishes, insect damage, or signs of disease. Only the highest quality fruit makes it to the export market.
Exactly. Maintaining Grenada's reputation as a supplier of premium quality soursop depends on this attention to detail every step of the way.
Okay, now let's talk about the fascinating economics of soursop. The FAO report really highlights the significant income opportunities this fruit presents for Grenadian farmers, especially considering that less than 1% of potential demand is currently being met.
It's a powerful statistic. That underscores the untapped potential of this market. The report paints a picture of a market that's ripe for expansion, particularly in the export sector. And remember, Grenada is the only country currently allowed to export fresh soursop to the United States. That's a major competitive advantage.
It's like having a golden ticket to a lucrative market.
Exactly. And the report outlines various strategies for capitalizing on this opportunity, from expanding production to diversifying the product range.
So it's not just about selling fresh fruit.
No, they envision a thriving soursop industry that goes beyond fresh fruit, encompassing value-added products like juices, ice creams, and even those medicinal teas we mentioned earlier. It's about maximizing the economic potential of this versatile fruit and creating a sustainable industry that benefits the entire Grenadian economy.
That's an inspiring vision. And speaking of value-added products, the documents also mention the potential for using soursop leaves to make teas and extracts, tapping into the growing market for natural health products.
It's an exciting avenue for expanding the reach of soursop beyond fresh fruit and creating a more diverse and resilient industry. They envision a future where Grenada becomes a hub for soursop processing and innovation, creating jobs, boosting exports, and enhancing the livelihoods of farmers and communities. It's a powerful reminder that a single fruit can be transformed into a source of economic and social well-being.
Okay. Let's shift our attention back to the irrigation project for a moment. We have these reports outlining the progress being made on installing the drip irrigation systems. How is the project's implementation going?
It seems to be progressing quite well. The reports detail the installation process, including the challenges they've encountered, and the solutions they've developed. They talk about the importance of careful planning and site-specific design to ensure the system meets the unique needs of each farm.
They highlight that they're not just applying a one-size-fits-all approach. They're taking into account factors like soil type, topography, and the age and variety of the soursop trees.
Exactly. And they also highlight the importance of training the farmers on how to operate and maintain the systems. It's about empowering the farmers to take ownership of the technology and ensuring the long-term sustainability of the project.
So it's not just about installing the hardware. It's about building capacity and creating a sense of ownership within the farming community.
Exactly. And this approach
Yep.
is essential for ensuring the project's success and its long-term impact on the soursop industry. It's really about investing in the people as much as the technology.
Now let's talk about the economic impact of this project. Are the farmers already seeing tangible benefits?
The reports indicate that the drip irrigation systems are already having a positive effect on yields and fruit quality. This translates to increased income and improved livelihoods. For the farmers, it's a win-win situation, increased productivity and reduced environmental impact.
That's fantastic to hear. And they also emphasize the project's potential for creating jobs and stimulating economic growth within the soursop industry. As a whole, it's a ripple effect, spreading benefits throughout the community.
Exactly. It's a great example of how targeted investments in sustainable agriculture can have far-reaching positive impacts.
Okay. Let's shift gears again and take a closer look at the export market for Grenadian soursop. The FAO report provides some fascinating insights into this aspect of the industry.
They highlight the significant demand for soursop in international markets, particularly in the United States and Europe, and they emphasize the premium price that Grenadian soursop commands due to its exceptional quality and flavor.
It's considered a gourmet fruit in many markets, sought after by discerning consumers willing to pay a premium for the best.
That's right. But the report also outlines the challenges of exporting fresh produce, including meeting stringent quality standards, ensuring timely delivery, and navigating complex logistics. It's a high-stakes game with potentially lucrative returns.
So it sounds like exporting soursop requires a lot of expertise and attention to detail.
It does, and they highlight the need for ongoing investment in infrastructure, technology, and marketing to maintain Grenada's position as a leading exporter of high-quality soursop. It's a constant process of innovation and adaptation to meet the evolving demands of the global market.
Yeah, let's talk about the human element of this story again. We have these contract documents outlining the partnership between simply pure agro-processing, or SPA, CARDI, and AFDI, that French Agricultural Development Organization. What's fascinating about these documents is the emphasis on collaboration and capacity building.
They're not just focused on providing financial support. They're actively
Yeah.
involved in working with farmers, providing training,
Yeah.
and transferring knowledge and skills. They're investing in the long-term sustainability of the soursop industry by empowering the farmers themselves.
And then they're also working to strengthen farmer organizations like
Yeah.
SPA so they can play a more active role in shaping the future of the industry. It's about creating a more equitable and sustainable system where farmers have a voice and can benefit directly from the success.
Of the soursop industry. Absolutely.
Mm.
And this approach is essential for fostering a sense of ownership and pride within the farming community. It's about recognizing the vital role that farmers play in not only producing food, but also in preserving culture and tradition.
Speaking of culture and tradition, let's step back for a moment and consider the broader cultural significance of soursop in Grenada.
Soursop is more than just a fruit. It's deeply intertwined with Grenadian culture and heritage. The documents we have here mention its traditional uses in folk medicine, its presence in local cuisine, and its role in community gatherings and celebrations.
It's a taste of home, a symbol of hospitality, and a reminder of Grenada's rich agricultural heritage.
And as the soursop industry evolves and expands, it's essential to preserve these cultural connections. It's about striking a balance between economic growth and cultural preservation, ensuring that the benefits of this burgeoning industry
Are shared by all Grenadians. It's amazing how soursop is woven into the fabric of Grenadian life. It's more than just a commodity, it's a part of their story. But let's shift gears back to the technical side of things for a bit. One aspect that really stood out in the production manual was the importance of soil fertility in soursop production.
That's a crucial point. The manual really emphasizes the importance of regular soil testing. To determine nutrient levels and identify any deficiencies, they recommend a balanced fertilization program that includes both organic and inorganic fertilizers, tailored to the specific needs of the soursop trees. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
So it's not just about adding a bunch of chemicals.
Not at all. It's about understanding the soil's composition and providing the right nutrients in the right amounts at the right time. They also highlight the importance of organic matter, like compost and manure, for improving soil structure and water retention. It's about creating a healthy and vibrant soil ecosystem that supports the growth and development of the soursop trees.
It's fascinating how all these elements, the soil, the water, the pollination, come together to create the perfect conditions for soursop to thrive. Speaking of pollination, let's revisit that fascinating process we touched on earlier. The soursop flower's unique characteristic, protogenic dichogamy, makes self-pollination impossible. Can you remind us why that is and what it means for farmers?
Of course. As we mentioned before, protogenic dichogamy simply means that the male and female parts of the soursop flower mature at different times. This prevents the flower from pollinating itself. It's nature's way of promoting cross-pollination, which leads to greater genetic diversity and stronger, healthier plants. But for farmers, it means they have to take a very hands-on approach.
They have to hand-pollinate each and every flower.
That's right. The production manual describes this process in great detail, from collecting the pollen to gently transferring it to the receptive female parts of the flower. It's a meticulous and time-consuming process, but it's essential for ensuring a good fruit set.
It's incredible to think about the level of care and attention that goes into producing each soursop fruit. From soil preparation to pollination to pest and disease management, it's a testament to the dedication and skill of Grenadian soursop farmers. As we wrap up our deep dive into the world of soursop and Grenada, what stands out to you as the most significant takeaway?
For me, it's the intersection of tradition and innovation. We see it in the way they're combining ancient farming practices with modern technology, like drip irrigation. We see it in their approach to pest and disease management, blending cultural methods with targeted use of chemical treatments. And we see it in their vision for the future of the soursop industry, one that embraces both economic growth and cultural preservation.
It's a powerful reminder that progress doesn't always mean abandoning the past. Sometimes it's about finding ways to build on tradition, to adapt and evolve, while still honoring the wisdom of those who came before us.
Exactly. And what's really exciting is that we've only just begun to explore the potential of soursop. With continued investment, research, and collaboration, who knows what the future holds for this remarkable fruit.
So, the next time you encounter a soursop, whether it's in a juice and ice cream or simply enjoyed fresh, take a moment to appreciate its journey. From the volcanic soils of Grenada to the hands of skilled farmers, it's a story of nature's bounty, human ingenuity, and the pursuit of a sweeter, healthier future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of soursop and Grenada. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.